Sup guys, King here bringing you a review on the latest Naruto Shippuden episode 479, aka 699. We're one episode away from 700, but that's not important anymore because we're done. We're done, guys. We are done. Naruto Shippuden is over. Holy crap! So yeah, I don't know how. I'm emotionally fragile at the moment. I'm not gonna lie. I cried watching this episode. And I know what you're thinking. You patsy. No, it was a very emotional episode. It was a very well done episode. The fact that they managed to extend this episode to include things that the manga failed to include just goes to show you how far and above Studio Pierrot went in order to deliver the emotional goods with these last few episodes. And my god, this final episode delivered. That's not to say Shippuden is over, by the way. I mean, we're still going to get filler episodes starting from next week, but technically speaking, this is the last main story episode. Chapter 700 was not adapted, unfortunately, but there is no point to get that adapted anymore. That was meant to serve as an epilogue, and we already have two movies that serve as an epilogue. Naruto the Lost and Boruto Naruto the movie. So really, we already got those two, and chapter 700 is very superficial, unimportant at this point. But yeah, this episode, man, the feels for this episode, so much happened, so much stuff happened in this episode that they attempted to wrap up and conclude, and they did it in such a nice paced way, like, oh my god, and the emotional values of it all, and all the characters that appeared in this episode to give us that final emotional payoff and conclusion, and to bring it all full circle. Like, wow, it was so good how they did this. So it starts off with where we left off, Naruto Sasuke bleeding out and dying. Thank you God for showing us the color red and not blackening it out like they did in the video game, I think. Sakura and Kakashi obviously come to the rescue. Sakura gets down to her business and starts healing two of them, and Sasuke apologizing like the new man that he is now, and Sakura and everyone just crying and laughing and getting on well together. And Kakashi, I mean, you've got Kakashi there just, smiling and happy about the result of this. Like, it's all fixed and it's all done. And obviously the two of them do the union sign and release the Infinite Tsukiyomi, and we get a nice extension of every single character being released from the Infinite Tsukiyomi. Great, going from Tamari to Kankuro to the leaders of the different countries and nations, to some more low-key supporting characters that turn up during the war and seeing what happened to them, obviously from being released, to Yamato and seeing the death of Toby. Technically Sparrow Zetsu, but I think in the official databook he's referred to as technically Toby. So, death of him, and all the other characters being released, ranging from Killer Bee to the Hokages, and seeing Orochimaru one last time with Team Haka and Kabuto. We don't see what happened to those guys. We don't see where they went. Obviously, we have to wait till they adapt the Naruto Gaiden for us to see what happened to them. But until then, like, they just kind of disappeared from the story afterwards. We then cut to Konoha, and I think it's been a few days, and you've got just every character recovering from the war. Basically, we do get Sasuke's voiceover over the course of a few scenes. We get a funeral. We get a nice extension of a funeral. We get Neji's funeral, like, along with the fathers of Ino and Shikamaru. I mean, these guys in the manga, right? They have their funeral, and they only show Neji. We don't see the other two. I mean, these guys were like very important as well, more important so, and they died, and we didn't even get a funeral scene with them or a mention. It just focused on Neji, but in the anime, they just went out for an extra few seconds to show us the gravestones of the two other characters and to show the emotions and the tears that these guys are feeling. So it was very emotional and sad. It was great to see that. Obviously, what else did they do? Because they did so much in this. We then cut to like a bunch of people, like just civilians, waiting outside Konoha village, wanting to meet Naruto, and I think also wanting to meet the new Hokage, because in this episode Kakashi becomes the Hokage. You've got Tsunade coming in and pretty much giving him like the large amounts of paperwork, and Kakashi just kind of getting stressed out and immediately just kind of getting upset over all of this. But like, yeah, it is what it is. He's the Hokage now. He's gonna have to deal with this shit. What's brilliant about the crowd segment of the episode, before it gets to that, is if you keep your eyes open, you can actually see a very quick cameo from certain characters. Remember Gurren, the crystal ninja user, and remember the you know, who appeared in the filler arc, the three-tailed demon, tailed beast arc or whatever. Yeah, she appears in this scene for a few quick seconds, along with Yukimaru and the big dude. In fact, he's the dude. He's the one that stands out the most. And I noticed him, and then immediately straight, just a few meters to the side, there was Gurren and the little kid. So like in the crowd. So it was great seeing those characters again, just for a few quick seconds, if you keep your eyes open, obviously, because it's a nice way to tie into that arc, and also because it always made me wonder what happened to those characters, and will we ever see them again. And my wish was kind of granted. I got to see them one quick last time, so it was funny like that they came all this way just to see Naruto and that. Obviously we then cut to Kakashi become the Hokage, as like I said. We then cut to, obviously, we cut to Naruto, and he's in the hospital to get like the news update on the new arm, which they go into detail with, because he meets with the Raikage and Killer Bee and Gaara, who've come to visit. At the same time, you got Shikamaru asking Kakashi for a request, which is to become the Hokage's personal assistant, so he can become Naruto's assistant when he becomes Hokage. So that's a nice way to set these characters up on their little journeys on who they will become later on as the series will go on, or in the future when we see the movies, obviously. Great scene, by the way, with Naruto and Killer Bee just kind of like reuniting and having their little moment, and Gaara coming in, shaking him his hand and asking, you know, just feeling very sorry about him having lost his arm, and asking, you know, what's gonna happen now. We get a little quick extension on the arms, obviously, and how they're being developed in the labs. It's great seeing that. Again, it's something that the manga did not go into detail with, but we saw it here, and it's great seeing it. We then get he then asks about Sasuke, obviously, and yeah, like I don't know why it's funny, but at the same time, like, it makes a lot of sense. And we see Sasuke in jail with Ikaba guarding him, and yeah, it's funny. It's funny, like Sasuke is in jail and he's got like, we don't see what's happened, but we just see like words on the subtitles saying sealed or seal or whatever. So obviously there's something covering his eyes that's sealing his eyes. But it's great seeing that, because yeah, for all intents and purposes, Sasuke should be in jail. So, you know, they don't shy away from this fact. He's in jail. Good. He should be in jail after all the shit he did. And yeah, we then have Naruto, Shikamaru, taking him to meet with Kakashi and Uruka Sensei in the classroom, where Naruto finds out that Kakashi has become the new Hokage now. And this is the best part of the episode for me, because like, for a minute I was like, oh, this is great, like they're actually gonna do it, because it's something the manga never did. And that is Kakashi basically telling Naruto that because of the war and that, he's making him a Jonin. Only to take it away a split second after by saying that's what he would be saying to him, you know, once he passes like the studies and that. And that's why Iruku Sensei is there, because he's pretty much there to tell Naruto that he's going to be spending the next 2 years having to study to become a Jonin, to pass the class, because he's still a bloody genin and he needs to get through these exams and that, because he never passed the tuning exams. And you've got Konohamaru there telling him that there's no short. I mean, you've got Naruto just kind of losing it, saying that he doesn't want to study, like he hates it, and trying to escape from the window, and he can't even smash through it. That's how like weak he's gotten without his arm, I think. And Konohamaru just coming in and telling him there are no shortcuts, and that they're both going to become Hokage, and they have to go, you know, they have to go through these hard steps. And Naruto accepts that. And Kakashi also explains to him that Shikamaru is going to be helping him with his resourcefulness about any other hard things that he's going to have to go through. And we see Naruto trying to study and just failing miserably in Iruka's class, and Iruka just telling him that he's got like 2 more years to go before he's a Jonin. So like, it's just funny. It's funny that that gets addressed, because again, it's something that never got addressed in the manga or the movies. Was Naruto still a genin when he became a Hokage? No. Obviously he becomes a Jonin afterwards, but he has to go through this hard process, and it's a great moment, obviously. It's even a better moment that comes full circle with the first episode, because afterwards you've got Naruto and Iroku like finishing their studies and going to get ramen, and Naruto basically telling Iroku that if it wasn't for him acknowledging him at that point in his life, he would have probably run wild and resented the villagers. And we get this nice flashback, obviously, from that moment when Iroku acknowledged Naruto and told him he's an exceptional student. And we just come full circle with that. I mean, this was such an emotional, great payoff for Naruto and Ariko's character. I mean, this is a character that was there from the beginning, and it's a character that just sort of disappeared towards the end, and there was never a proper conclusion with him. I mean, this guy is important. He's basically Naruto's, like, he's Naruto's older brother. Like, Arika Sensei pretty much played the same sort of similar role to Naruto that Naruto would play for Sasuke in the future, and that's kind of what it is. And we never got the payoff for that, but here in the anime we do, and it was emotional and it was fantastic. We then obviously cut to the ending of the episode and the whole main storyline, which is Sasuke being released from prison. Like, you know, he's made up his mind and he's gonna let him go, and because of these testimonies and of his pleas and what he's heard. So yeah, he's letting Sasuke go. We get the moment with Sasuke and Sakura, which is very nice. A little tap there, obviously, which kind of just hits that at this point Sasuke is acknowledging Sakura and he's accepting her feelings towards him. But at the same time, he mentions that, you know, he has to go and see the world with his own eyes and to experience the meaning of this feeling of pain and what it means to share pain, and that it's kind of a nice callback to Nagato and what he tried to do with the world, but like with Sasuke just kind of going it with a more natural, more quiet route, and at the same time saying that he's got something else that he's worried about, which is obviously a hint at the bigger things to come in Boruto, the movie. And obviously, yeah, he leaves the village, and we get that final moment between him and Naruto giving him the headbutt bang, and it's great, it's emotional, it's an emotional payoff, and it just pretty much concludes everything about Shippuden. The main story at this point is pretty much done. It ended with Sasuke leaving the Leaf Village. It ended with him, you know, the scratch on the headband, and Naruto taking and making a vow, and now it's all come full circle. Everything is concluded, everything is done. And the episode ends with this nice little recap from the first episode of Naruto with the fox tail, and the story of the nine-tailed fox and the shinobi, and the current story of the shinobi, that child that grew up and ended up saving the world. And I think that was a segment that was taken from chapter 700, because that's the way chapter 700 actually ended, with that retelling of the beginning of Naruto. But here they've taken that segment and they put it at the end of this episode of the adaptation of chapter 699 instead. And yeah, it fits, it works a lot more better, because at this point, like I said, we don't need chapter 700. We already know what characters end up with who. We already know what's happened to Naruto in the future, etc, etc. We know his kids, so we don't need to see chapter 700 anymore. Like, we've got the epilogues. This is done. Naruto Shippuden is done. It's finished. After 15 long years, guys, it's done. And it was such an emotional payoff, man. Like, it was so worth it. It was great seeing this now. Like, I can't believe it. Like, after all this time, we're finally here. I mean, I think I was there when the anime first started, and I watched it for a while, only for it to stop watching it after because of school and that, and then getting back into it again after a few years, and then again having to stop on it, and then after uni, like finishing uni, and just catching up with the series and deciding to watch it and just rewatching the whole thing, and then 4 years later, 4 or 5, yeah, I think 4 years later, here I am, everyone else having finally seen this final episode adapted after all this time. After all the fillers, after all the constant shittiness, we finally got a final good arc, final good episodes. Studio Pierrot finally delivering on the promises they said that they would, and they delivered in such a good way. And now we just have some filler material to look forward to, along with the adaptations of the epilogue novels, and later on Naruto Gaiden. But at this point, the main story is done. Naruto Part 2 is done. Shippuden is done. That's it. But yeah, man, I'm just like, yeah, I don't know how to, like, I'm just exhausted now. Like, it's like a weight lifted off my shoulders, because now it means I can probably sit down and watch other anime now. Like, I might just start watching One Piece actually now, like, because now that Naruto's done, I can pick something else to watch, to like, you know, watch from the beginning and to catch up on. So that would be worth it actually, which would be amazingly, terribly hard to do as well. Like, the journey for that, I'll probably wait till next year actually, because I can't be bothered to start now. But yeah, the future of Naruto Shippuden. Well, next week we are getting a new opening and ending, and from the preview, the next episode is going to be very animated, very well. I mean, it just shocks me that it's a filler and we're getting top quality for it. But yeah, the episode is called Naruto Hinata. The episode after that is called Sasuke and Sakura. The episode after that is called Gaara Shikamaru. And the episode after that is called Jiraiya and Kakashi. So these are obviously part 1 episodes, but they're not recaps. From the looks of it, it's new material but told in part 1 form when they were very, very small children. At least with Naruto and Hinata. I don't know how far the episode's gonna go. All I know is that in the preview we saw Naruto with the third Hokage, and we saw Hinata with Neji promising that he'll protect her. So I'm thinking maybe this is some sort of prequel before the events of Naruto Part 1. Maybe the episode's actually going to show why Naruto wanted to become a Hokage in the first place. Maybe he got so inspired by the third that he wants to become Hokage, and that's what it's going to be. Maybe not, I don't know, but it'll be nice to see, because at this point I'm not going to criticize Studio Pierrot anymore. It's done. They adapted everything from the manga as perfectly as they could, even better along with this episode. Like, very brilliant episode, good, brilliant final conclusion, and at this point I'm not going to complain if they're going to give us filler now. It's done. We always said that once they get done with the main story, they can do what they want, and yeah, as far as I'm concerned, they can do what they want now, because it's done. So if they want to do filler now, go ahead, do it. I'm just hoping we don't have to wait too long to get the Naruto Gaiden, but I think since the hint was that Naruto is not going to become a Jonin until 2 more years, I think that was maybe that was a hint from you know, the studio themselves, saying that yeah, you're gonna have to wait 2 years before you get an adaptation of chapter 700, whatever, and etc, etc. So maybe that's that, I don't know. But yeah, guys, brilliant episode. Very tired now. I just want to rest. And yeah, guys, I hope you like my review to this. And I can't wait to see some live reactions from people who react to this live who've never read the manga, so it'll be great to see. But yeah, guys, as always, like and subscribe, whatever, and I shall see you when I shall see you.